Voyager brings you the true story of Cambodia, site of the killing fields.
On April the 17th, 1975, the capital city, Phnom Penh, was stormed by the army of the Khmer Rouge.
The much-acclaimed film starred one man who was there in real life.
Hang Nor now believes that it's his duty to use his recently acquired fame to draw the world's attention to the plight of his countrymen.
See his story in Voyager, Tuesday True Life at 7:30 on ITV.
Earlier tomorrow at 6 o'clock, the regional news magazine Northern Life, followed at 6:30 by Highway to Heaven. Then after Voyager, at 8 o'clock, more drama in The Bill. Full details in TV Times. Over on Channel 4 now, John Wilson is fishing in Sweden. Next on Tyne Tees, the ITN News.
There now follows a party political broadcast by...
Time for a sharp exit.
I want to be a slug. I want to be a soldier.
I want to be John Barnes.
I want to be first.
I want to be last.
I want to be a brain surgeon.
I want to be on time. I want to be in a place of my own.
I want to be a dad. I want to be somewhere else.
I want to be my own boss.
I want to be God.
I want to be just here.
Whatever you want to be in life, you want to be with Prudential.
Set your sights on Dickens Treasure Island sale. Fast-growing Leylanda hedging, 79p. Bellalux vinyl flooring, 95p a linear foot. Solid pine 6-panel interior doors, £27.95. 8-foot wide sliding mirror wardrobe systems, £189. Colour roll blown vinyl wall coverings from £2.99. Solid pine bench sets, £39.95. Kitchen mixer taps, £16.95. And with late night shopping till 8, Monday to Saturday and bank holidays.
Dickens make it easy.
Sweet Shop soft truth, sweet. Fruity, sweet.
Twist your tongue round a Rowntree's fruit pestle.
When he's trying to act like a hero, and no one's there just to say hello, even though he feels so small, he knows that someone cares.
His first day is over. There's one thing more just to make his day. A visit to
McDonald's. Great food, good fun, good times. Make your day, make your way to the sign that says you're welcome. A visit to McDonald's makes your day.
In the wet, you can't choose a better tire than a Unioil.
Twisting down with graphic gel spray from Garnier. The hair holds up, no buildups. Cool beat with graphic mousse fixe. Volume control, no stickiness.
Strong on style, kind on hair. New graphic from Garnier.
Right, Beryl, could you give your dad suit a lick of paint? Only it'll never come out in this light.
Do you have to fill in for your
Lovely.
film's deficiencies?
Aunt Maud's hat needs a bit of brightening up, Chris. That's lovely. Oh, dear. The vicar's hair will never do.
Are you having to make up for the lack of colour in cheap films?
Oh, hurry up, Dave. The vicar's starting to run.
Okay, everybody.
Get strong, true colours in your camera, not all over you. Colour Gold.
This is Tyne Tees. It's time now for the ITN News with Sue Carpenter.
The news from ITN. Search for IRA in Germany after soldier finds a bomb under his car. Police cleared demonstrators at Notting Hill after a day of peace at the carnival. South African leader tells Zambia he's ready to end the cycle of conflict. And Gladstone Small produces the runs to save the follow-on. Good evening. West German police are looking for an IRA active service unit tonight after a British soldier found a bomb under his car. The device, which was safely defused, was similar to one that killed a British soldier in Germany last month. Today's bomb was planted in Bothfeld, a residential area of Hanover, where British servicemen live alongside local families.
The terrorist target was this car belonging to a British Army staff sergeant. The vehicle had been parked outside the soldiers' married quarters in a residential area of Hanover where servicemen live alongside German civilians. The sergeant's vigilance in spotting the bomb concealed beneath the car probably saved his life.
I believe he'd gone out to get his umbrella, and he carried out the usual drills of looking around and looking underneath it. An explosive device was located by him. The device was defused by a German ammunition technical officer, and there were no injuries.
The area was evacuated while soldiers and German police searched for more bombs, but no more devices were found. German police say the bomb found today was similar to that used by the IRA to murder another British serviceman in Hanover just 8 weeks ago. Corporal Stephen Smith was killed instantly when a bomb hidden beneath his vehicle was detonated. His wife and 4 children were yards away from the blast and lucky to escape with their lives. In a third attack on British Army bases in West Germany this summer, 5 bombs containing more than 300 pounds of Semtex explosive were planted by the IRA at the Quebec barracks at Osnabrück. One device exploded, causing damage, but no injury. Security at Army installations has been intensified this summer, anticipating an IRA campaign to mark the 20th anniversary of the deployment of British troops in Northern Ireland.
Police in riot gear tonight made a series of charges to clear bottle-throwing crowds at the end of the Notting Hill Carnival in London. The police said the skirmishes marred what had, until then, been the most peaceful carnival for years.
Around 500,000 people turned up for the main day of Carnival, double yesterday's numbers. Over 50 floats lined up for the procession, steel bands, reggae and calypso pumping out for mile after mile around West London. For others, Carnival meant street dancing, dozens of giant sound systems blasting out all over Notting Hill. During the day, the crime figures were dramatically down on previous years. As the afternoon wore on, less than 24 people had been arrested. But just before dark, the mood turned ugly when groups of youths started throwing bottles at police around All Saints Road in the heart of Carnival. A number of people were injured and police arrest squads moved in. As trouble flared, riot squads arrived to clear the street, and the police helicopter monitored their progress from overhead. Using horses and large squads of officers, the police then started clearing the whole Carnival area. They say the situation is now under control. So far, no figures are available as to the number of arrests or injuries. Robin White, ITN, Notting Hill.
South Africa's acting president, Mr. F.W. de Klerk, has told President Kaunda of Zambia that he's ready to end the cycle of conflict, but he can't accept outside interference. The meeting in the Zambian town of Livingstone was the first between Mr. de Klerk and one of Africa's most influential opponents of apartheid.
F.W. de Klerk came to Zambia hoping a handshake with Kenneth Kaunda, Black Africa's elder statesman, would boost his election campaign at home. The announcement of the meeting, held beside the magnificent Victoria Falls, provoked a political crisis which led former President P.W. Botha to resign. He'd said that talking to President Kaunda was tantamount to negotiating with the outlawed African National Congress. But after 2 hours of talks, Mr. de Klerk was able to say that the ANC and its conditions for negotiating were not discussed. But he did tell Dr. Kaunda what he envisaged for the future.
South Africa is going to break out of the cycle of conflict is going to break out of the cycle of mistrust, and that we are going through negotiation and dialogue, work out amongst South Africans, for South Africa, a new dispensation.
President Kaunda, though, avoided saying what he thought of Mr. de Klerk and his talk of reform.
Dr. Kaunda seems then to be reserving judgment on Mr. de Klerk. Like the rest of the world, he'll be waiting to see what South Africa's new leader delivers after next week's elections.
And the fact today's meeting took place, and in such apparent cordiality, will almost certainly strengthen Mr. de Klerk's position for polling day. Kevin Dunn, ITN, Livingston, Zambia.
The Colombian Justice Minister has decided not to step down after all, despite death threats from drugs barons. Monica de Grijf apparently drafted a resignation letter but didn't send it. She's now in Washington holding talks on extradition procedures for drug traffickers. Jonathan Monroe at ITN reports.
Mrs. de Grijf's decision to stay on comes despite a death threat to her and her children. She apparently received a call on Friday saying, "Definitely you will be next," a reference to the assassination by the drug cartels of one of her predecessors. There have been 9 justice ministers in the last 3 years. The violence and terror which the groups perpetrate go on. This one of 10 banks bombed over the weekend in Medellin, headquarters of the biggest cartel. Ironically, the funds for this terrorism come largely from America. Cocaine finds a lucrative market there. One new opinion poll shows the majority of Americans now favor sending combat troops into Colombia to stop the drugs flow. It is with the aim of stopping that flow that Eduardo Ramiro, the chief Medellin money launderer, will be extradited to America tomorrow. But the cartel has threatened revenge. 10 judges will die, they say, for every member extradited.
Britain's newest satellite TV station, BSB, will find out later tonight whether the launch of its transmitting satellite was successful. It's been blasted into space from Cape Canaveral, but it will be some hours yet before it reaches its planned orbit.
It was a critical countdown for BSB management gathered to watch the launch. If it failed, the whole project, already delayed, looked doomed. But the rocket carrying the satellite took off successfully in the first American space venture by a private company. It'll be a few days before it's confirmed that the satellite is working properly. Assuming it is, BSB hopes to be beaming 5 channels to British viewers by March.
It's a real event, and it's the first, I guess, the biggest step for turning a dream into a reality. A remorseless march to the spring now, till we go on air.
But BSB originally advertised a launch this September. Embarrassingly for the company, it had to be delayed. There have been problems developing the system which decodes the signal for subscribers and the receiver, which is known as the square-reel. BSB will have to raise another £400 million to run its full range of programmes. It must also battle for subscribers against Rupert Murdoch's Sky service, which has been running since February.
Sport and the English Test Cricket authorities have denied they've offered the captaincy back to Mike Gatting. With today's developments on the pitch and the rest of today's sport, here's Giles Smith.
David Gower and Gladstone Small were the cricketing heroes today as England saved the follow-on in the final Cornwall Test at the Oval. With a day to go, Australia 87 for 1 after England had been bowled out for 285. The Oval was packed to see if England could avoid further humiliation. The captain, who may not be one for very much longer, seemed to have the cares of leadership lifted from his shoulders as he showed why he's classed as one of the very best players in the world when the mood takes him. Eventually, the ever-present Alderman got him for 79, and at that stage, England still needed 100 to avoid the follow-on. But Small is one of those tail-enders who has ideas above his station. If only England's real batsman could play like this. He'd already got a fine 50 when he hit the runs that saved the follow-on. The roar that greeted that might have been for the shot that won the Ashes. He was still attacking when the Aussies prized him out. It had been a great effort, some pride back into England's batting. When Igglesden trapped Marsh early in the Australian chase to a declaration target, there were even wild thoughts of an unlikely English win. But our bowlers have been trying to get Taylor out all summer without much success. He was still there at the close, having passed an amazing 800 runs for the series.
In the county championship, Essex lost today and Middlesex could only draw, so Worcester are 26 points clear with just 2 matches to play. Athletics, and Britain's Olympic silver medalist Peter Elliott tonight challenged his great rival Steve Cram to a run-off to decide who gets the third 1,500 metres place in the Commonwealth Games. Seb Coe and Tony Morell have already won selection and only one of the others can go. Elliott issued his challenge after running impressively in the Emsley Car Mile at Gateshead. Although he was beaten by the great Moroccan Saeed Owita and the Kenyan Joseph Cheshire, this was his first major race since coming back from Seoul, seriously injured. Also in top form, Dalton Grant, breaking his own British high jump record for the 3rd time in 3 weeks. Racing and a surprise in the Tote Sprint Handicap Stakes at Epsom. Steve Cawthon had been fancied to win on Cabcast, but in the event Impala Lass, ridden by Bruce Raymond, took the honours, having started at 6-1. Cawthon could only scrape to second on Cabcast, the 3-1 favourite, just ahead of Pendor Dancer, 7-1. The speed limits were lifted in the centre of Birmingham from the normal 30 to around 170 for today's Super Prix. Frenchman Jean Alesi led the field away and held on to his lead until the end, despite being pushed hard in the closing stages by Italian Marco Apicella. Alesi's win extends his lead in the Formula 3000 Championship. Britain's Martin Donnelly finished 3rd, one of 4 British drivers in the top 10.
And one soccer result in the second leg of their Littlewoods Cup first-round match, Port Vale 1, Walsall 0. So Port Vale go through. Finally, American scientists say the space probe Voyager 2 has sent back pictures of what appear to be icy volcanoes on one of Neptune's moons. The monitoring team believe the volcanoes on Triton periodically erupt, firing off showers of frozen nitrogen crystals. They've also recorded the sound of Voyager passing through one of Neptune's rings. And that's the news tonight. From all of us, good evening.
Good evening. Well, I do hope you had a lovely bank holiday weekend in England, Ireland and Wales. Now, tomorrow's going to be quite a bit cloudier than today's, and that cloud started moving in already during the course of today. So where's it all coming from? Well, as often is the case, it's coming out of the Atlantic. So first of all, let's have a look at the Atlantic satellite picture. You can see just to the western side of Scotland, just poised there, a big black mass of cloud. Now, there's 2 fronts in that. First of all, a warm front that's moving down the country tomorrow. Behind that, a cold front. That'll be with us around about Wednesday and Thursday down in the south, bringing quite a bit of rain. Now, let's zoom in closer to the United Kingdom. You can see that already this afternoon, most of Northern Ireland and Scotland was swathed in cloud. Quite clear down here in the south. Now, that's going to be the case during the course of tonight. It's going to be dry, if not clear, in the south and east and many parts of Wales too. Quite low temperatures around too, about 5 or 6 degrees Celsius in the Birmingham area. But in all that cloud that moved over Ireland and Scotland, there was quite a bit of rain as well. And during the course of tonight, that's moving into western Scotland, still in parts of Ireland, and perhaps pushing down as far south as the north of Wales. Now, tomorrow, that cloud's still going to be with us and rain as well in those very same areas. They will dry out during the afternoon, the odd shower around, but nice and bright in the south and east and eastern Scotland. And tomorrow's temperatures slightly warmer than today's. Here's a summary.
Hello, I'm Mike Scott, and I'll be back with you on The Time and the Place at 10 o'clock every morning from Monday through to Friday from next week. We'll be travelling in the country talking about a variety of subjects, many of them topical ones, some of them funny ones, and we hope that you'll be joining us 10 o'clock every day.
And now here's the regional weather forecast. Increasing clouds tonight will lead to some light rain or drizzle over the Pennines and Cheviots by morning, but most other parts should stay dry. Tomorrow will be cloudy with further rain on the hills in the morning and maybe a few spots elsewhere, but some places will stay dry throughout. It'll be slightly warmer than today, with afternoon temperatures up to 20 degrees Celsius, 68 Fahrenheit, and a moderate southwesterly breeze. Next on TNT's Hollywood Ghost Stories.
You'll love Tracker in roasted nut or chocolate chip. Tracker makes straight for the taste.
Tracker, now with new apple and black currant.
The Central Electricity Generating Board is about to be replaced by new independent generating businesses. PowerGen will be one of them. At PowerGen, we're ready for the challenge.
Yes, we have a 12 in the blue.
With the scalloped neck.
Yes, a 12 in the blue with a scalloped neck.
And in the white?
Yes, we have a 12 in the white.
And do you have the 14 in the blue?
I thought Madam was a 12.
Well, normally, yes, but you see, if the cut is on the smallish side, they're not generous these days. You know what I mean? They skimp round the armhole.
Yes, we have a 14 in the blue.
And in the white?
And in the white, and in the green, and in the pink.
Green? Oh, now, do you have a 12 in the green?
Yes, we have a 12 in the green.
And in
the pink!
Before you shop, why not call and make sure they've got exactly what you want?
So, you've got all of the colours in both of the sizes?
All the colours in all sizes.
You haven't sold out of anything?
Nothing at all.
It's not what you call all the rage, is it?
British Telecom. It's you we answer to.
You ask how much I need you. Must I explain? I need you, oh my darling, like roses need rain. You ask how long I love you. I'll tell you true. Until the 12th of never, I'll still be loving you.
When you get a Start Line mortgage, you also get a guarantee.
I love you till the bluebells forget to bloom. I love
Whenever you need more money, for a new house, or for home improvements, with Start Line, you'll get the money without delay.
Until the 12th of never, and that's a long, long time.
Start Line from Bradford and Bingley. We're with you all the way. And that's a promise.
Long time.
You know milk comes from cows?
Mm-hmm.
And it's white.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why is my milk pink?
Because they feed your cow on strawberries. Mine just got bananas.
So chocolate milk must come from cows who eat nothing but chocolate then.
Uh-huh.
I wish I was a cow.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant.
Sometimes man's best friend seems almost human. That's why new Friskies buffet doesn't look like a dog food. Nourishing meaty chunks in thick, tasty gravy.
Thank you for being a friend. I want to thank you. Thank you for
New Friskies buffet, because man's best friend is almost human.